The fight against Yuji and Todo versus Sukuna continues, and then the most hype moment in Jujutsu Kaisen history happens. So make sure to stay tuned for this epic chapter. Channel the special grade sorcerer within and smash that like button if you enjoy seeing Jujutsu Kaisen videos like this one on the channel and want to keep them coming. Make this the video you join the special grade fam if you haven't already by subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss future Jujutsu Kaisen chapters and updates. And now without further ado, let's jump into it. Spoilers and all. So last chapter, big bro Choso tragically died, protecting his little bro Yuji in the process. However, with the loss of one brother came the return of another, the Boogie Woogie legend himself, our boy Todo. It was hype to see these two heading into battle together again, and I could not think of a more hype opponent than Sukuna. They rushed in because Sukuna's domain just ended, and so it's difficult for him to use curse techniques. Yuji doesn't have the luxury to mourn because now is the time to strike. This chapter starts off pretty much where the last one ended, with these three characters face to face. Todo pulled off his bandages to reveal Boogie Woogie modified. At first, there was a question whether after losing his left hand, he'd be able to use Boogie Woogie at all anymore. But now we see a contraption where his left hand used to be. It's explained to us that this is a vibra slap, a musical device that creates a unique sound from the impact and vibration of a certain metal weight striking a wooden box. Gotta hand it to Jujutsu Kaisen, the story never ceases to surprise me. Now of course I looked up a vibra slap because I've never seen one before, and yes, it's a real instrument, it just probably isn't used in combat that often in the real world. The gist of it is that now Todo uses his remaining fist to push down on the ball. He altered the clapping activation condition of Boogie Woogie to the impact of the metal ball with the wooden box. Due to this, it actually became possible to switch about 50 times in 1 second. Holy smokes. Love to see that Todo has only gotten stronger after losing his hand and not weaker. Yuji thinks to himself that Todo, Sukuna, and he are like a roulette, continuing to switch about. And we see what we pretty much saw when they fought Hanami, just at a much higher level of course. We get an epic panel of Yuji landing a punch at the same time that Todo is landing a kick to the face. As we see Sukuna's crushed face, we're also told that additionally, against the quantity of impacts of the vibra slap, through a binding vow placed on himself to limit the number of switches, he succeeded in having multiple targets of the technique and widening its range of effect. Which sounds perfect because why would you even need to use it 50 times in a second? Man, you gotta love binding vows. They're always coming in clutch. Also on a side note, it seems to me that visually this chapter doesn't look the most polished, but it could actually be working in a way to capture the craziness and dynamic nature of this insane fight. We're further told that with support from Okotsu in the GOJO Lake Colony, Todo finished the adjustments of his technique, and from outside he completed his mission to retrieve his ally sorcerers inside the domain from the center of the explosion. Speaking of course of what happened last chapter. Todo was already awesome, it must be said, but great to see him get even better as the story goes on. Love how we have a parallel to that old tag team against Hanami, but now both are significantly stronger and thus together as a whole that's even more so the case. Sukuna actually praises Todo big time when he says, among the sorcerers, this guy is the most my pace and hard to tear down. To be honest, he appeared at the worst possible time for me. Of course, Sukuna has that trademark confident smirk, like a poker face, even while thinking this, but great to see him internally hyping up Todo so much and giving him the respect he deserves. As the switches are happening, Sukuna suddenly jumps midair, and Todo quickly thinks to himself, I don't know how he did it, but I just need to understand that he can do it. I love the efficiency of this thought process. He doesn't waste time with thoughts that don't serve him, like why could this possibly be happening, but just accepts the situation and adjusts accordingly. This fight is going to be insane when animated with all of the moving parts, I gotta say. We get one moment where Yuji launches a rock at Sukuna and then Todo switches the rock with Yuji so he can launch a propelled attack. Sukuna seems to get the upper hand for a moment as he grabs Yuji's face, but then Todo switches places again and Yuji lands a punch from behind on Sukuna. As the fight is going on, Sukuna is thinking to himself the maximum and minimum number of switches from a single tap. If Todo can freely adjust this, then it's basically impossible to get used to the Boogie Woogie. Nevertheless, he acts like he figures something out. He thinks there's a moment where it's possible to predict the timing of the switch with certainty. We see Sukuna get hit and crashing through a pillar, but he's excited because he thinks this very moment where the boy's focus has increased, he will faint, not switching when he taps. I will punch him. Sukuna prepares for a powerful deadly punch, then a crow passes by, and he remembers the crows being used before, and he's now thinking he misread the situation and he'll switch with the woman's crow. But the switch doesn't come, and Todo smiles confidently saying tricks within tricks within tricks. And yeah, I love that aspect of this fight. It's all mind games and chess, trying to predict what your opponent will do and keeping him from predicting what you will. It's great to see our guys outsmarting for the time being, such a fierce fighter, and let's be real, the king of curses himself. That's no small feat. Yuji then lands an epic Black Flash that even Sukuna had to feel if we're going off of his expression. Black Flash Yuji strikes again, I love it. Yuji managed to puncture Sukuna's chest with his fingers, but as Yuji is screaming that shonen protagonist scream, and it's looking like this may be it, Sukuna looks down on him and activates domain expansion. We're told due to his high efficiency with cursed energy, even if Sukuna's cursed energy has been whittled down to be equal to Okotsu Yuta, so long as his burned out technique is restored, he can expand his domain multiple times. And keep in mind, Yuta actually has quite an insane amount of cursed energy himself to start with, compared to most people. But just as it looks like Sukuna turned the tables yet again, giving us another reversal cliffhanger yet again, he sees something in the rising dust, and it's not us grasping at straws here. We see up close a face that looks like Gojo's, and furthermore, we're told that the one he buried with his own hands, the strongest ghost, is here. And as if we needed more assurance that this isn't clickbait, the narrator says, "Those eyes cannot be mistaken." This is seemingly what everyone's been waiting for, confirmation of whether the strongest sorcerer and most popular character will return. There have been countless videos about his possible return, including ones on this channel, and yeah, we finally have reason to believe that it wasn't just copium. Gojo seems to have returned in one way or another. But I admit, there are different interpretations that are possible. Let me know what you think. Did Gojo surpass his limits yet again? Is he back as a cursed spirit? Or is this just some kind of genjutsu or illusion? At the same time, maybe because Sukuna is so close to death, he is able to communicate with Gojo, who is dead. Perhaps, as crazy as it sounds, it's one of those situations that happened before where Sukuna is dead, and then in the next chapter it'll be explained what actually happened and how it happened. But if that's the case, we are way closer to the ending of this series than even I expected. Either way, we know that next chapter is gonna be crazy with the reveals. But personally, knowing how the fans feel, I feel like the mangaka wouldn't just tease us like this to disappoint, so my money would not be on just an illusion. Leave your theories below in the comments and we'll see who gets it right next chapter. But man, it's going to be hard to wait for that one. Now, if you enjoyed the return of Gojo, then you definitely won't want to miss this video predicting why Gojo could return, link on screen right now. If you do enjoy seeing these Jujutsu Kaisen chapter reviews on the channel, I want to keep them coming, then channel the Sorcerer Within and smash that like button. If you haven't already, make this the video you join the special grade fan by subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss future Jujutsu Kaisen chapter reviews and updates. Until next time, boogie woogie.